Tihar Jail in Delhi is believed to be South Asia's largest complex of prisons. The jail has been home to some of the rich, mighty, and dangerous inmates, and has often been in the limelight for all the wrong reasons. It is one of the most notorious jails in the country. Over the years, the jail has witnessed all sorts of crimes: murder, rape, child abuse, jailbreaks, gang wars, drug trafficking, and terrorism, to name a few. The prison has been witness to all this and more for several decades now. But successive administrations have been unable to rein in Tihar's lawlessness.
I'm an IAS officer of Haryana Cadre 1985 batch, and I had the rare privilege, I would call it a privilege, to have been an inmate of Tihar jails in the case in which I was the whistleblower. This was the teachers' recruitment scam. So there was a turn of fate, and from a whistleblower, I became a co-conspirator, and I was given a rigorous imprisonment punishment of 10 years. So I have spent 10 years in Tihar, and think myself capable of understanding the system. During my stay there, I was attacked twice physically, and it is a matter of record that once I was hit on my head. The idea was to smash my skull in, and the second time I was attacked with a surgical blade. So I have my marks on my shoulders even today. I was also writing a book. The book I was writing was taken away. It was completely destroyed during the absence of my present number. I wasn't there because I was out on parole. So when I came back, I found that whatever I had written, and many hundreds, if not 1,000 pages, they were all destroyed. I lodged a formal complaint. As usual, an inquiry committee headed by one deputy superintendent, who's now himself in jail because in that extortion case, he gave a clean sheet to whoever I thought was the perpetrator of this. You see, the problem in jail is that it is a completely insulated institution. There is no press, there is no public, there is no politician. So nobody can question.
Way back in 1986, Charles Sobhraj, the infamous serial killer who was known as the Bikini Killer, made a great escape from Tihar. During his time in prison, we are told it was Sobhraj who ran the jail's administration, not the jail authorities.
चार्ल्स सोबराज एक क्रिमिनल था, विदेशी था, इस तरह की ठगी के बहुत सारे आरोप थे देश में भी विदेशों में भी। वो तिहाड़ जेल में बंद था और उसने इतने शातिराना तरीके से वहाँ पर लड्डू मंगवाए, उन लड्डुओं का इंतजाम किया, उसके अंदर नशीली दवाई डाली ताकि उन लड्डुओं को खिलाकर वो वहाँ से गायब हो जाए, और इसमें वो कामयाब भी हुआ।
Sobhraj, he was also running the jail because he was having some dictaphone. In the dictaphone, he was having the voice of superintendent and deputy superintendent jail, where they were demanding money from him. He used to blackmail the prison, this managerial staff, and he was moving in the jail just like an inspecting officer is moving the jail. Nobody was stopping him. He was having food of his choice inside the jail, and he was extorting the money from other prisoners. One story was published in the Indian Express where it was written that Charles Sobhraj is running the jail. When this story appeared in the Indian Express, then at that time our Home Minister was Gyani Jail Singh. Then he visited the jail and he talked to the Charles Sobhraj, and thereafter some prisoners they just came close to Gyani Jail Singh ji and gave him 2 empty bottles of liquor.
Sobhraj, journalists used to come constantly and hold, long sittings, and it was a matter of, lot of heart burning because the office of deputy superintendent, where the mulaqats or meetings of the prisoners was held, was small one. So far as Charles Sobhraj is concerned, with the journalists and other visitors, and Sunil Batra and three of those, they were also getting more of their visitors, whereas that was at the cost of the visitors of other prisoners.
Over 3.5 decades have passed since Sobhraj's great escape, but insiders say nothing has changed in Tihar today. Only the names and faces of inmates and jail superintendents have changed, but the nature of crime within the prison continues unabated.
What is actually happening is that individual level gangs are formed and they operate individually. So what happens with gangs? They'll take out the blade. They'll start sharpening it. And then they prepare themselves for a war inside.
Whenever these gangsters, like now we are having Neeraj Bhavania gang and Lawrence Missionary gang and so many other gangs. So whenever they are in the jail, they will try to override the prison administration.
राइवलरी होती है कई बार, जो गैंगस्टर होते हैं वो दूसरे इनमेट को बोलकर आपस में इस तरह से झगड़ा कराते हैं, अपने इन्फ्लुएंस को यूज करके किसी दूसरे नॉर्मल इनमेट से भी इसको अंजाम दे सकते हैं कि भाई वो दूसरे किसी जो उनके राइवल गैंग का इनमेट है उसके ऊपर वो हमला करे या उसके ऊपर किस तरह से मारपीट करे उसके साथ.
Prisoners who are mischievous, they devices in different ways to smuggle prohibited articles like mobile phone, like drugs and other things inside the jail. I have myself seen that what the prisoner will do when they will go to the court, they will just put this smack in polythene bag, small polythene bag, and then they will swallow that bag to their stomach. And then they will come back, they will just vomit, and will take out that smack, and then they will enjoy this smack. Same way, they will try to smuggle these knives, they will try to smuggle blades inside the prison so that they may attack the fellow prisoners.
We spoke to Subodh Markandeya, a senior advocate in the Supreme Court. Years ago, the Apex Court had appointed Markandeya to visit the jail and prepare an impartial report. Markandeya's report is filled with shocking instances of violence and human rights violations within the jail premises. He says he was shocked to see that children were provided to inmates for homosexual abuse.
I first went for 3 days in the Tihar Jail. I had submitted 3 reports. So on the basis of those reports, the court, directed a regular inquiry to be held by the district judge. There were some certain serious things going on in the jail. Mr. Sunil Batra, who was initially, sentenced to life, sentenced to death, his sentence was commuted to life imprisonment, so he was undergoing life imprisonment there, and he was provided for his homosexual purposes 2 young boys. This I myself found, because suddenly when I saw that in one particular cell 2 young persons were there, I just walked in there, and even the district judge was taken aback. And by that time I had entered and I saw those 2 boys, and there was also a TV installed there.
Experts say nearly 80% of the jail inmates are under trial prisoners from poorer backgrounds. Many have been languishing in jail for years together, and some have been unable to get out of prison because of financial and social constraints. But for Tihar's VIP inmates, rules are different.
This happened in Central Jail number 1, where that particular business house, the owners were there. The Honorable Supreme Court of India had directed as to how this particular, owners or this business house, they were able to run their office from inside the jail. There have been instances where that particular superintendent would take the dirty clothes of that particular bigwig and get it washed from his place, get it ironed and bring it back again. So such like superintendents, he would be carrying a briefcase, and being a superintendent, it would not go through the very rigorous scrutiny. If you are able to extort 200 crores, what is stopping you from giving 2 crores every month? And for 2 crores, believe you me, the bad guys are ready to do anything. Anything. When such kind of people are taken outside for court dates and they are wearing Richard Mille watches and Gucci shoes and all, is it not for the authorities outside also to be aware as to what and why is it happening like this? Judicial officer, a senior judge, was given the task of conducting an inquiry in which he brought out things which are unbelievable, that this group enjoyed so much of 7-star luxury inside Tihar. And then this group was moved to CJ7, and the superintendent who was in charge of CJ1, who allowed everything, very quietly he was also transferred after a few months to CJ7. So he ensured that the same system continues.
Sunil Gupta, the former law officer of Tihar Jail, says many prisoners from poorer backgrounds face discrimination in the prison, while many elite and influential inmates lead luxurious lives. The poor prisoners fall prey to harassment and gang rivalries, and others struggle for basic facilities and are often pushed to the brink. Last month, an under-trial prisoner was found dead inside the jail. But these incidents are not new to Tihar.
Around 80% of the prison population, they come from the lower economic strata of this society. If we classified this or define this lower economic strata, it means their yearly income is less than 1 lakh rupees. These poor people, these poor under-trials, they have no advocate, no good advocate to defend them in the court. Since they are not having good advocate, most of the time they got convicted. They got convicted because you see that against poor, anybody can come to depose against that person. But against influential or against gangsters, nobody came forward to give the evidence.
Kiran Bedi, India's first woman IPS officer, became the IG Prisons in 1993, and she took charge of Tihar Jail. Soon she introduced radical reforms within the prison, and a year later she won the Magsaysay Award for her contributions. But today, a Tihar posting is seen as a punishment posting by most officials.
In fact, everything moved around the superintendent jail post. And for that post, they are having the civilian officer from the outside, from Delhi government, who are manning these posts. Further, this DIG and additional IG posts, all are being manned by the civil service officers. So this is very bad for the functioning of the jail, because if you are not running the jail in professional manner and clerks are running the jail, then you can see that we can never achieve our objective of reformation, rehabilitation and reintegration of the prisoners into the society.
The post of DG prisons is a kind of a shunting post in bureaucratic parlance. वो होता है कि अच्छा इसको खुदे लाइन लगा दिया. So here you need to have a person who is committed for this thing. After all, Mrs. Kiran Bedi also, when she was given this job, would be having so many alternative plum postings. So she could have come with a huge grouse and a chip on her shoulders and just whiled away her time. But this was the place where she got the Magsaysay award, an achievement of a lifetime.
The presence of dangerous criminals who head warring gangs inside Tihar poses a serious threat to fellow prisoners. Tihar Jail needs radical reforms, and these reforms can only be brought in by officials who have a vision for the prison and its inmates. As someone had rightly said, no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones.
In Delhi, we are having at present 16 jails. 9 jails are in Tihar Jail complex, 1 jail is at Roni, and 6 jails are in Mandoli, that is, you can say, northeast Delhi. So the combined capacity of all the 10 jails is to keep around 10,000 prisoners. Against that, on an average, there are around, you can say, more than 20,000 prisoners. Here you can see that around 80% of the prison population, they are under trial, and only 20% are the convicts. It is well said jurisprudence that if the number of under trials is more in your state, it means your criminal justice administration is lethargic.
I'll tell you what happens inside. Our prison is filled with people from the deprived strata of society. Look at the heat which is there in the temperatures in Delhi. It touches 47, 48. In zoo, you have coolers for the animals. So now there should be talk of giving some coolers to the prisoners. This is what Madam Kiran Bedi had said, that the Tihar prison is not a dumping ground for able-bodied people. After all, we are all able-bodied. And then you just lock me up and say that while your physical freedom is restricted, what happens to my mental freedom? On the face of it, everyone is smiling and trying to pretend, because I think men particularly don't want to be seen to be down and out. But inside, I think we were all broken people.